Welcome to Mythology Matters, where ancient narratives unfold a profound connection between history, mythology, and theology. The compelling choice. Why dark matter could be hiding entire civilization. Welcome to an exploration of the universe's greatest vanishing act. It is a compelling choice from traditional particle physics to a haunting cosmic possibility that we are the 15% minority in a universe dominated by the invisible, if dark matter is not just inert dust, but a complex dark sector with its own forces and chemistry. Then, the great silence of the cosmos is not due to lack of life. It's a lack of vision. We may be sharing our own backyard with civilizations built of shadows. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed diving into the invisible architecture of the cosmos, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into mysteries of space and time. Stay curious. Chapter 1. The Invisible Majority. The ghost in the machine. For the entirety of human history, our relationship with the universe has been defined by what you can see. We built our understanding of reality on the foundation of light, the electromagnetic spectrum that allows us to perceive stars, planets, and the microscopic structure of our own cells. We constructed a robust, elegant framework known as the Standard Model of Particles Physics, which describes the world of protons, neutrons, electrons, and photons with startling precision. For a long time, we were quite proud of this map. We believed that if we could just look hard enough and build large enough telescopes, we would eventually account for every scrap of matter in the cosmos. Then came to gravitational evidence as early as in the 1930s, and with increasing certainty by the 1970s, astronomers began to notice a growing disparity. Galaxies were spinning too fast. Galaxies, according to the law of gravity, as defined by Newton and Einstein, the stars at the edges of galaxies, the one far away from the dense center, should be orbiting much slower than they actually are. They should have been flying off into the void like water droplets spinning off a wet umbrella. Yet, they stayed clustered together. Something was holding them, providing an extra gravitational anchor, and we could not see. We dubbed this missing component dark matter. We know it exists because it pulls on the things we can see, but it remains stubbornly invisible to our finest instruments. It doesn't emit, absorb, or reflect light. It passes through our detectors, our planet, and our bodies as if we were nothing more than a faint suggestion of a physical object. Currently, the scientific consensus classifies dark matter as a boring substance. an inert, monolithic, and ghostly background material, we often imagine it is a vast, uniform fog that permeates the universe, simply serving as gravitational adhesive. But why should we assume it is boring? This is the central provocation of dark sector hypothesis. The asymptote of complexity consider the baryonic matter that makes up you, me, the Earth, and the distant stars. It accounts for only about 15% of the total matter in the universe. Yet, look at staggering complexity that this small fraction has produced. Atoms, complex molecules, DNA, biological life, consciousness, and societies that build particle accelerator to study their own origins. We live in a universe where 15% of the stuff capable of breathtakingly complex architecture. Does it make sense logically or statistically that the remaining 85%, the dark matter, would be simple, featureless, dusty? If we look at the history of science, we have repeatedly fallen into the trap of cosmic provisionism, assuming that our experience is the standard for the entire universe. Whiteson suggests that dark matter may have its own dark sector, a parallel regime of physics that is just as complex as our own. If this is true, dark matter is not merely a single, lonely particle. It could be a vibrant, multi-layered realm with its own version of the standard models. The dark sector hypothesis. If the dark sector is as rich as the visible one, it requires its own forces. In our world, the electromagnetic force is the architect of structure. It allows electrons to bind to nuclei, enabling the formation of chemistry. Without electromagnetism, atoms wouldn't hold together and life would be impossible. A complex dark sector would likely require its own version of dark electromagnetism, a force that allows dark particles to interact and form structures. If dark matter can fill a darker version of electromagnetism, it could cramp into darker stars, darker nebulas, and potential darker planets. Dark chemistry. If dark matter has forces that allow it to form bonds, then it could create complex, self-organizing dark molecules. These molecules could serve as the building blocks for materials that we cannot even imagine, given our reliance on atomic chemistry. Dark photons. While dark matter doesn't interact with the photons we see, it might interact with a dark photon, force carrier. This would mean that a dark matter world is not pitch black. It is lit by a spectrum of radiation that we simply lack the sensory apparatus to detect. If this hypothesis holds, the universe becomes a much more crowded and exciting place. We are not living in a giant, empty room where a little bit of dust is floating around. We were living in a multi-layered, overlapping reality. The space you are currently occupying might be passing through a high-density cloud of dark matter that has complex, structured, and perhaps even dynamic qualities, all of which are visible to our eyes, our radio telescopes, and our sensors. The mirror universe. This leads us to the radical possibility that the darker sector is a mirror universe existing in the same physical space as our own, yet entirely disconnected from our sensory experience. Imagine a civilization built our darker matter. Their sun would be a darker star, collapsing under gravity but held by darker sector nuclear fusion. Their planets would be dark spheres composed of molecules held together by darker electromagnetism. Because these entities would not interact with the electromagnetic field, which is the fundamental medium through which we perceive the world. They would have no way of knowing we exist, and we would have no way of knowing they do. We are literally invisible to one another. The compelling nature of this choice is that it forces us to reconsider the Fermi paradox, the famous question regarding why we have seen no evidence of alien life. If life can exist in the darker sector, it would be governed by a completely different set of physical rules. They would not transmit radio waves. They would not build structures that reflect light. They would not emit heat in the infrared spectrum. They would exist on a frequency of reality that we have only just begun to theorize, let alone measure. In this light, the great silence of the universe is not indication of our loneliness. It is a testament to our ignorance. We have been scanning the radio waves looking for signal from neighbors who are shouting on a megaphone, while those neighbors might be communicating through a form of dark light that we don't even have the eyes to see. We are not alone in the universe. We are merely neighbors who haven't yet learned how to knock on the wall. Chapter 2. The silent neighbors. The architecture of identities. If we accept the premise of the darker sector that the 85% of the universe we cannot see is as chemically and physically diverse as the 15% we can easily conclusion is as staggering as it is array, we must confront the possibility of a shadow biosphere or even a shadow civilization. That we aren't just looking for life in the long places. We are looking for life using the long fundamental physics. Imagine for a moment that the room you are sitting in right now is not empty. In the darker sector, there might be complex, solid structures. There could be the darker matter equivalent of mountains, skyscrapers, or even biological organisms, because darker matter and normal baryonic matter only interact through the weak force and the gravity. These structures pass through your walls, your furniture, and your own body without a single atom being displaced. To a darker matter being, you are the ghost, you are a faint, ethereal mist of light-based particles that passes through their solid world like a breath through a graveyard. This concept of the silent neighbors suggests that the universe is not a vast, empty void, but crowded, multi-layered stage. We have spent centuries cataloging the actors under one specific spotlight, the electrical magnet force, and aware that the theater is full of the performers moving in a different light. The Great Silent and the Fermi Paradox. For decades, the set search for extraterrestrial intelligence project has operated on a specific set of assumptions. Life requires liquid water and carbon chemistry. Intelligent civilizations will eventually harness electricity and radio waves. Advanced life will leave a techno-signature such as infrared heat waste on radio leakage. But if a civilization is built from dark matter, every single one of these assumptions falls. They would need water. They would need dark sector solvents. They would not use radio waves, which are oscillations of the electromagnetic field. They would use darker photons, which we cannot detect with even our most sensitive satellites. This provides a radical potential answer to the Fermi paradox, the question of why in the universe billions of years old we have not heard from anyone on Earth. The great silence might not be due to the rarity of life, but to fundamental mismatch in hardware. We are like a Victorian era society trying to find a Wi-Fi signal using a carrier pigeon. The signals are everywhere, stimulating the space around us, but we lack the specific organs or instruments to perceive them. The problem of dark engineering. How would a dark civilization function? In our world, engineering is the manipulation of the electromagnetic force. When you sit on a chair, you aren't actually touching the atoms, the electrons in our pants. We are repairing the electrons in the chair. It is electromagnetic interaction. In the dark sector, engineering would involve the manipulation of dark forces. If dark matter has its own version of strong nuclear force, these civilizations could build material of incredible density and strength. They might inhabit the dark matter halos that surround galaxies, regions where the density of dark matter is highest. While we cling to the thin disks of galaxies where stars are born, they might view the center of the galaxy as a chaotic, radioactive wasteland of light matter, preferring the cold, stable, dark-rich outskirts of the galactic halo. The weak bridge, how we might finally see them. The most frustrating aspect of the silent neighbors is the weak interaction. In particle physics, the portal is the theoretical bridge that allows dark matter to occasionally talk to normal matter. It is vanishingly small probability, a 1 in a billion chance that a dark matter particle will strike a nucleus of normal matter. Scientists are currently attempting to listen to this bridge using experiments like a Lex Zeppelin, located nearly a mile underground in a gold mine in South Dakota. These experiments use massive tanks of liquid xenon shielded from cosmic rays, waiting for a single dark matter particle to bump into xenon atom. If hypothesis is correct, these experiments are doing more than just looking for a particle. They are looking for the exhaust. If in the world, a hit in a dark matter detector would not just be a new entry in a physics textbook, it would be the first time we felt the vibration of neighbors' footsteps on the other side of the cosmic wall. Why this matters? Cosmic humility. The compelling choice forces us into a state of cosmic humility. We like to think of ourselves as the protagonist of the universe, but we may actually be the minority report. If dark matter is 5 times more prevalent than normal matter, then the real history of the universe, the vast majority of its wars, its art, its discovery, its art, and its life might be written in a language of particle that we cannot read. We are like deep sea creatures living near a volcanic vent, unaware that there is an atmosphere, a sun, and the civilization of bird and human living just a few hundred feet above the surface. We see the glow of our own event, our sun, and assume that is all there is. Work suggests that the next great frontier is not out there in deep space, but right here in the dark. The aliens are not coming from another star. They might be sitting in the chair next to you, made of matter not subtle and so different that your body will never touch, even as you share the same coordinates in the infinity dark. To find them, we don't need faster rockets. We need better math, deeper minds, and the courage to admit that we are currently blind to 85% of reality. The neighbors are home. We just have not learned how to see through the walls yet. Ultimately, the compelling choice challenges us to look past our own biological and chemical biases. So, reminds us that our definition of existence is tethered to a tiny sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum. If complex dark sector exists, the universe is far more clouded, vibrant, and mysterious than our telescopes have ever dared to suggest. We are not the masters of a lonely void, but perhaps just one layer in a magnificent, multi-dimensional tapestry. By peering into the darkness, we aren't just looking for particles, we are looking for the rest of our cosmic family. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you joining us for this journey into the unknown. If this exploration of dark civilization sparked your imagination, be sure to hit a like button, to share, to comment, or to ask any kind of question about these dark matters. Stay curious. Until next time, thank you for watching.